It's your boy Sherm. This is another episode of Thought Party. I'm rolling solo today. My man's Nick has some family stuff to attend to. Shout out to the family. Family first always. So I wanted to still be consistent, put up a joint for y'all to think about and get back to me, man. Well, I think that a really good topic I think we need to get into or at least kind of just open up to some extent is the terminologies we use. I've been listening to this um I guess a tape or something that somebody put on YouTube recently, and it was one of those like uh like a motivational tape or some sort of informative tape, like literally like a cassette that I think somebody uploaded the audio to onto YouTube, and it's by Earl Nightingale. If you ever heard of him, look it up. Definitely, I think probably one of the first few videos you'll see if you look it up on YouTube is dude talking, and he brought up it was pretty much about just the way you think, becoming who you are, um, and I've been listening to that every day, every morning for a little while, trying to get it kind of into me, and I think um, what's the word? Repetition is key to kind of just getting anything in you, developing new habits, things like that. So I do that every morning. And I was listening to that and I was just thinking, like, yo, like he was talking about the way you think shapes who you are as an individual. And regardless of beliefs, this isn't really getting into that. But regardless of what you believe in, it becomes this consistent theme you see in different belief systems that rely on thought, and everything is about believing or having faith. Um, and there's that's the central kind of point in it uh, in most of belief systems. So I was thinking about that about in regards to my thoughts and like where I was with life and kind of how things going and where I put things in my mindset. How strongly do I think about things, or how strongly do I elevate thought in and of itself as a way to gain things instead of always working or striving or fighting for. And it really, and I seen someone post not too long ago. It was Big Sean talking about people using their words um, like I can't do it or stuff like that, like saying that they can't do stuff. And I was like, yo, like how often have I done that? Or why are people so drawn to like the negativity of themselves or whatever? And I wanted to kind of get into that, but also I wanted to kind of shift it into more of the racial discussion because I think so. There's a belief, and I want to maybe get Nick on this, maybe either next week or whatever. This may be a part two, or something like that, or we may end up making a part two to it. But I I really think some of the terms we use um, kind of ingrained in us to kind of hold us back, and I think that kind of goes along with the agenda of what's being done to us or what would someone would do. They were in school teaching about how black people were less human and stuff like that. Scientists were saying that, and people believe scientists, and they there's instant trust. If you're a scientist, you can say whatever you want, and it's trusted. It's not questioned. It's not looked at or looked after. It's just it is what it is. So I wanted to kind of talk about where some of the origins of some of the words came from, and there's some terminology that I think we all kind of know. We the biggest one I think is black. Some black people don't use the N word, so that's not really the basis of this. Although this can very easily kind of go into that realm because a lot of people do use that word, and it's a lot about taking stuff back. I heard a lot of stuff about people taking stuff back and taking the power or something out of it is what I've heard, what I've been told. But I just find it kind of odd that we don't also take back the power of anything else, like literally the country or the government or even just neighborhoods, the physical buildings. We don't take those back, but yet we're so strong about using the N word to quote unquote take it back and make it powerful or something else. And it's like It's almost like we conveniently picked and choose what was easiest to get accomplished because there's so much that we have lost and not have gained back that I don't necessarily buy that as an excuse. So I look at the words because I'm a writer, so I write a lot of stuff, and where I put words, how I put them, how I phrase things, I'm very kind of in tune to that. Kind of when I listen to music, I listen to the words and how effective the lyrics feel, because I think that the words being used are definitely intentional. I don't believe there's anything written just kind of been written. I know what it takes to write stuff, um, and it's not very typical of someone just scribbling down words. I think everything's intentionally said for whatever reason. So when I look at the words black and white, we've heard the argument before. If you haven't, I can kind of break it down to you the best way I know how. But um, ultimately, all the words that are kind of white are are really like pure and things like that, like white as snow and May white, and it's just like there's a newness and it's kind of propagated as it being just pure and clean, and just like a good thing. You want things white, and you want things like kind of, what I'm saying, like you want things like that. But then of course we heard of the black terminologies, black male, and things like that. It's always like a negative, or black is kind of like evil and kind of just dark, and it's supposed to not be black. It's always kind of heading towards it not supposed to be being that way, and so it just kind of helps you kind of dig into your mind just a little bit, even to the what seems innocent. It makes it feel like we don't belong or something's wrong. Um, and as you can see, I'm brown. My shirt's black. My hair, somewhat black. So I feel like that kind of thing is like that terminology came from somewhere. I think a little bit that's kind of used to kind of imply that like you or something's wrong with you. That person is black, and it just being this um, sense of like I got to do something about this kind of thing, or something's not right with that person, or whatever. And the words being used kind of help propagate the attitudes that are in society today when it comes to just walking in the street, or cops showing up and assuming whoever's black did whatever. And there's layers and layers and layers of that. This has been going on for a long time, so it's not necessarily something that is one thing. You can't just fix one thing or do something about one thing and then all of it's gone. But I think there are roots that people don't get to, and sometimes we get too caught up in facing the symptoms and things. Like we take care of the cough, for instance, when in actuality you're coughing because there's something going on. You have the flu or you got COVID or whatever. And so if you just take care of the cough, you may stop coughing, but the sickness is still there. And I think we focus too much on trying to get the symptoms handled. We want things to look like they're okay instead of making them okay, because it's a bit easier to handle that way. So I want to kind of dig deeper, I think, in those words, and get an idea of what certain terminology came from, because ultimately um, there's a way to reword things. We do it all the time when it comes to like slang words or things like that. Just things coming quote unquote out of style. We just start saying different things to communicate different thoughts, and I think that that's something that we can very easily do. So I want to get into trying to get some solutions together and get an idea of what can be stated instead of, and what can we all agree upon, because I've heard people of color is bad, because that's essentially saying colored people, which get you beat up nowadays. So people of color is still kind of a thing that the companies use, and you see it on Twitter and you see it on social media when people are trying to be careful. I've even heard people say black and brown people. I've heard that stated. African American, stuff like that. Is like, what do we land on? What can we collectively as a group decide is right? Because right now, I think a lot of people are trying to make changes, and even in the LGTB, what is it, LGBTQIA plus community, it becomes this like, what do we say? Because no one knows. Like everyone's so quick to attack, but there's no direction. There's no instruction. Everyone just attacks whoever does it wrong, and he's like, okay, what do I do? And then they disappear. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to handle this. And I think there's a lot of people who don't mean anything, don't mean any harm. They just aren't aware of how to deal with um, the change or the things that's offensive or not right. So some solutions I think would be good. I think as a culture, it's kind of hard. I always thought about what can we do to bring about solutions in a lot of different ways, a lot of different things. And I always thought about meetings. It's almost like you would have to break it down. There's too many people with too many different thoughts to simply say one person can be in charge of making the choices for everyone, the entire race. Um, I don't think that's something that one particular group can do. Um, I think that it's so evolved now. Like everyone's just so, especially when you start looking at different areas of literally the country. People just have different thoughts and different opinions about stuff. Some people don't care. Some people really care. Some people do either of those things, different spectrums. So it's even harder to even lock down just one side of, because like it's just this huge like spectrum of things, and I think it's a little bit complicated to get resolved, but it is something we need to deal with because if we are constantly speaking something that, let's say black is wrong, like literally the term came from somewhere bad, and we keep propagating it because that's just what we're used to, um, and we're just saying it over and over and over and over. That's not something we want to keep going. And I think that if we knew that there was detrimental effects of how often we communicate that and repeat that, we would want to change it. But if we don't know that, we're not going to do nothing about it. So I want to get to the core of a is it bad? Um, if so, or if not, why? Also, if there's a change that's going to need to be made, what are the changes and how can we go about getting it completed? Because I think that we are able to do it for sure. It's just about making sure that we do it in an effective way and communicating in an effective way. So that way, when it's not done, we can actively call it out in confidence. Because I correct one person and say, "Don't call me person of color, call me black, or call me whatever." Um, Even African American, I've heard. It's like, well, every other race has to have the word American put at the end of their title or whatever. Asian American, African American, this American, that American. But white people are ultimately just American, and no one talks to them about that. But usually, when I talk to a white person about their race or whatever, or not even race, but just more so of like origins and things like that, which is kind of the core of what we're trying to get to in the first place. I always hear, well, I'm part Italian, or I'm part German, or whatever, and it's like, well, you're. I don't know what I don't call you that, and nor did you request to be called that. So, or should you, or is it just kind of, are you okay with being this or that? And not saying that they're the defining point of what people should be called, because that's fucked up this whole time. But there is a part of society that needs answers, and I think too much blaming and too much pointing and too much canceling is going on without any specific pieces of knowledge that has been um, I guess, created to help alleviate all this craziness has been advised. So no one knows what to do, but everyone's being corrected. So it gets exhausting, and then people are just like, "Well, fuck this. I'm not trying to get myself jammed up, but I also don't know what to do." So, and you ask one person what to do, and they may say one answer, and then you go to someone else and you do what they told you to do, and they're like, "No, don't do it that way. I don't like being called that." And it's like, well, so how do I determine what what the term is? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? And it's not necessarily about the term. It sounds like you're nitpicking about what to say, and this isn't that. This is literally going back to what I started with, which is how you think of yourself, or how you think of whoever you're talking to. And I think that's what's important, because your thoughts are extremely important. And another big piece of that, of course, is how you think of yourself. If I'm calling myself black, just because that's the term that I was handed, that got handed to me. Um, like, what do I, where did that come from? It's like getting up one day and just find out Monday through Friday is called Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like, okay, who named the days, who names the month, who names, you know what I'm saying, who decided what year it is, shit like that. The earth is as old as it is. You get into numbers, into why is it this, why is it 2021 right now? And, and it's not saying that that's as important, but it is like this level of just like, here's stuff. And it's all kind of given to you together. Like, you get old enough and you're like, here's this box of all these things you get handed that you have to remember. And some things are worth questioning, some things aren't, but definitely the terminologies that we get used on us are definitely something that we need to at least slow down and say, hey, like, where did you get this? Um, because there's certain things that people were being called before that would actually get you in trouble if you called them that now, which was okay back when they first started being called that. And things changed because somebody was like, yo, that's not how it's going to be no more, or whatever. So I think we just need that similar kind of thing done. But the problem is we just need to shift it from what it is to what it's supposed to be. And we just need to get to the core of what that is. So um, I've done a lot of talking. I think there's a lot of different examples I can get into. But ultimately I think everyone kind of gets it. If you look in the dictionary, look up the word white, you I don't think you'll find any of them that's like bad. Whitelisted. Um, I don't even know all the different ones off the top of my head, but I know that there's a lot of black ones, blacklisted, blackmail, blackballed, things like that. I think that you get into these terminologies and they seem harmless, which was part of the plan. The strategicness of it being just some words, like no one cares, right? That's the problem, is no one caring, and now it's where it's at. So obviously we can't keep doing what we did before, and we also can't keep begging other races to treat us better. Like, I think we need to come together as a black culture to determine what needs to be done and do it ourselves, because praying that no one treats us bad is almost giving them the power. They either can do it or they cannot do it. And if we don't take it back in our hands, we're almost trusting that they're going to do what they're supposed to do with it, which is a gamble. We don't need to be gambling anymore. And I know the change as far as behavior needs to be done on their end, but there's also a mentality change I think that we can gain from as well, if we kind of make sure that we're not calling each other bitches or niggas or whatever the fuck coming out of our mouths, because we think that we're being powerful when we say it, when ultimately we're just working for them. You know what I'm saying? People are racist and we're calling each other niggas. It's like we're just doing their work for them. Haven't we done that? That's literally slavery. So instead of doing their work for them and pretty much reiterating the brainwash, if that's what it is, that we need to kind of slow down and determine, okay, what actually am I, instead of what was given to me. So I want to see what y'all think, man. Let me know. I haven't been doing the best job of getting these online, but I'm definitely gonna be working on that. I apologize for the delay. There's just been a lot going on, a lot of family stuff, a lot of stuff, y'all. So I apologize, but y'all know I'm here for you. And the podcast is all of it's on YouTube, all of it's on the podcast app. So it's not just not on there. I mainly want to get some more direct feedback from you guys. So I'm going to do a better job of getting these online onto the social media accounts so you guys can comment and let us know what you think, because I think this is an open discussion. That's the whole point of this, is to open this up and see what people think and get some solutions uh, together. Because right now it's just kind of everyone blaming each other and no one being on the same page, which um, the lack of unity is definitely an effective tool for anyone who's trying to dismantle what we have. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you later. Take care. I'm Shermanville and everything. Um, I'll catch me on Twitch Tuesday, Thursday. If you've been watching this past week, I've been doing War Week, Call of Duty stuff. Um, So yeah, you've been seeing that. You'll see those online. If you want to watch those, they're all on there. Go to twitch.com, or sorry, it's twitch.tv/Shermville, SHERMVILLE. What else is going on? I got the No Fiction podcast going to be up Friday. You'll see that on the podcast apps as well on YouTube. So yeah, just keep connected, and I'll get these up so y'all can hit us up and let us know what you think. So talk to you later. Peace.